Hi guys, it's Natalie. Welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be the start of me telling my story. If you can see this like poof of hair, this is my son. When you see his face, listen, I'm telling you, I have been trying like to put moisturizer on. He has a cold and he's like rubbing and like getting his slobber like all over, and it's causing him like okay, he doesn't want to come in. He'll say hi. Hi. He's so weird, just like me. He's perfect. I love him. But his face is so red and I feel so bad. Today is going to be the first part of me telling my story. I don't know how long Shawnee's going to be able to stick around because he gets a little antsy. My makeup is crazy because I did a look earlier. I may have already posted it. There he is. There is the man himself. Look at his face. Oh, my little baby. No, I'm not that little baby. Oh, if he isn't just like me, huh?
No, it's not.
Oh, man. Shawnee, are you going to let me tell my story to them? Okay, so everyone always is like, you know, write it down, or like telling me to like use note cards and stuff when I do my videos. That's not me. Like in school when I was giving a really long presentation, no, I have to wing it. Like that's just me, and I do so much better when I wing things because then I'm just myself. Maybe I do worse because myself is weird. I don't know. I'd rather just wing it. I am going to tell my story from the time I was a little kid until now, I guess. And I'm going to do it over weeks. Like, I'm going to start at the beginning and go so far and then, you know, like continue on. Because it's difficult to talk about, and I just think this is the easiest way to do it. So let's start with my childhood. You know, I grew up in Ambridge my whole life. When I was first born, I lived with my parents at my grandma, my Nana, I called her, her house until I was like 3, and then we moved into the home that my parents own, and we lived there for the rest of my life until I went to college. I had an amazing childhood. I mean, yeah, there were a balloon. There were issues, like, I'll get into them, but overall, amazing family. No drug addiction, no abuse, nothing. I mean, my parents are great people. If you meet them, they're like saints on this earth. Religious, went to college, good jobs, outstanding citizens. So my parents, they were great people. I was really close to my dad's parents. That's who we lived with for a while. And then even once we moved, I was there all of the time. My Nana, like, she was my best friend growing up. Literally, like, my best friend. And then my papa, I was really close to him too. He had a really bad temper, though. And my dad was kind of the same way, and I also do. It takes a lot to anger me, but when I get angry, it's like, you better watch out. Like, all seriousness, it's bad. And that's how my dad is. That's how my grandpa was. So I was always like kind of scared of them. When I say things like this, just a disclosure, like, my parents are amazing people. I'm just stating like things, like, I love them, I'm so close to them today. But we all have faults, you know? So that's pretty much what it is. I'm just saying certain things that may or may not have contributed to why I turned out the way that I did. It's not blame, it's just talking about different things. So, yeah, my grandpa was so amazing to me, but the stories, man, oh, my grandpa was very feisty on a whole different level. It's because how he was raised with really tough love. Like, his mom, which would be my great-grandma, saw her, like, entire family get bayoneted to death in front of her before she came over from Czechoslovakia. So it was just, like, a very, like, coldness, you know? And my dad, like, kind of acts like that on the outside. And, his mom, though, but he has, like, a tenderness from my grandma that he likes to cover up because my Nana was the sweetest person ever. So, yeah, I grew up, an only child. Okay, so literally 10 hours later, here I am back again to finish my story. Sean is in bed. I don't even want to say happily because he's sick, so he will probably be up. And I gotta go somewhere to do lashes, so, like, my poor mom. I'm gonna have to, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to go, we'll see. So, anyway, where did I leave off? I'm telling my story. I really did have a good childhood. I was with my gram a lot. My parents were very, very strict. Growing up, I remember everyone said that I was, like, the happiest kid they had ever met, and I truly was. Like, I was so innocent, and I just feel like I was very naive and sheltered, and that was great, like, for the first part of my life. But then when you get into the real world and people come at you in all different ways, it's not so good because you're very naive. And it definitely hurt me. My grandma was so close to me and so sentimental and so caring. She helped me so much. Like, she played with me for like 10 years. Like, would crawl on her hands and knees, play house, play dog, whatever I wanted to do. She was just amazing. And, when I was in my addiction and we were cleaning out her house, she was very sweet. Like, she would always write, like, little sentimental notes to us and stuff. And she had dementia really bad and Alzheimer's, and she didn't know who any of us were anymore. And I avoided visiting her, which really hurts. I couldn't deal. It was just an excuse. I would say I couldn't deal with her not knowing me. It was an excuse because I was too busy getting high. But we found this pair of slippers from when I was like 3. There was a note, and she put it in her drawer like she knew we would find it after she died. And it was my slippers when I was like 3, and she wrote a note inside of it. I'll have to read the note when I get to further along in my video. I gotta find it, but it said like I love you forever, and remember, always be a lady, or something. And it was like when I was using really bad, and I just lost it when I found that, because I was like, oh my god, she would be so ashamed of the person I have become, you know? Growing up, I'm telling, like, straight A's, on a roll, great kid, so shy, didn't talk, had this, like, group of friends who everyone thought were, like, the smart kids who didn't do anything wrong. I literally was so shy. No one believes it now. Like, I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't know how to socialize. The drugs later on in life, like, changed something in my personality. It just made me not care anymore. I always felt very isolated, like being an only child. And my mom was really, really sick when I was young. And it made her turn very, very religious. And now I have my own faith and beliefs, and a strong faith, which I ended up going back to what my parents had taught me, but I rebelled against it really bad because my mom pushed it on me so hard, and she didn't realize what she was doing, you know, but it really like embarrassed me. She would do it in front of my friends, like, and I was already a loser and quiet and awkward and didn't know how to talk to people, and then she would come at them with this religion, and it just like, oh, it drove me nuts. And then my dad was just like very kind of antisocial. He's like OCD really bad. If you met him, you would have no idea. You'd think they're both like normal. But living at home is hard. Like, I can't even get into some of the stuff. It's crazy how clean he is, like to the point that it's unhealthy. Like some stuff we are and aren't allowed to do, and there's all these rules and regulations. It was like that when I was 6. Like, you're allowed on the couch in these clothes but not these clothes, and you can walk here but not there, like, you know. And he never wanted people over the house, and I just felt really isolated and didn't know how to connect. And I always was so jealous of like big families and like happy families, I guess. When my grandparents were alive, we all did get together and like we had a lot of fun, but I don't know, like I wanted a brother or sister, and I don't think my mom did too, but she couldn't really have more kids because of her health problems. And I don't know, got to junior high, and I was still one of the super smart kids, and no one noticed me. And I'm not gonna mention names in some of these things, like I'm gonna, because I don't know how people will feel if they watch it, you know, like as we go along. So I just always remember feeling like, I'm gonna be totally honest, because like I know that so many people feel feelings and they just won't say them, but we all feel the same. Like, I don't care who you are in school, I don't care if you're the most popular girl in school or the biggest loser in school or somewhere in between. Everyone wants to be cool and liked. I don't care who you are, I don't care what you tell me, it's true. Everybody does deep down inside, and that is what turns us into, how are we going to go about it? Are we going to achieve that? Are we going to rebel and pretend like we don't want people to like us, you know? Like, so I wanted people to like me, and I wanted to be cool, and I wanted to be the prettiest girl in our school, but I didn't really like how those girls acted. Like, I never felt, I don't know, comfortable around people like that. Like, the things they talk about, it's just so not me. It's so superficial how people act. I need depth. Like, the people who were the uncool kids were always the ones who like interest me, but that didn't mean that I still didn't want to be one of the cool ones, you know? I remember in junior high on the bus one day, someone saying something like, because I had my glasses and I didn't know how to do hair, or like I was just a mess. I was a mess. And someone saying like, oh, Natalie's gonna be hot in high school. And he was one of the cool guys, I think. Now I look at him, I'm like, alright, okay. It's so funny how all the people who didn't like you are the ones in your inbox now, right? Isn't that funny how that works out? And I was like, what? I'm gonna be hot? No way. And like just certain things, like guys would tell, like, oh, one day, and I'm like, oh my god, maybe I have potential. So junior high I stayed like, and I got very angry because I was still a good kid at heart, and my mom was so strict. Like, my parents wouldn't let me do anything. I couldn't go to school dances, I couldn't go to the movies because I was just trying to see a boy, when in reality, maybe even if I was, on my mind it was nothing. Like, I wasn't trying to do anything, I just wanted to go to the movies. Like, they would stop me from doing so much stuff, and I just kept building this anger. And like, yes, as adults, when I sit here and think like, okay, I didn't get to go to the movies, like, it sounds so irrelevant. But when you're like 12 years old, 13 years old, and your parents stop you from doing something when all the other kids get to, like, it hurts, man. And like, especially being an only child and being isolated and already just feeling awkward, like, it just kept building and it kept building. And like, I was just so sick of not being included. And like, if I ever did have a chance to be around those people, I felt like I didn't know how to interact or socialize, which is so funny because I feel so different now in life, but like I didn't know how to interact or socialize, and it would just be annoying to me. It was like, oh my god, I have no social skills, I'm so awkward. Like, that's how I always felt. And I continued to do well in high school, and then when I was like 15 was when things started getting like my one best friend and I, she's like an engineer now, just started getting like, we wanted to experiment with stuff, and we were friends with this guy who is also an engineer now. Shout out to you two, you know who you guys are. Well, he had a rough home life, and his mom and dad weren't around, and his grandparents were good people, and they let him, he was older than us, and they were going to let him finish out the school year at Ambridge, so they let him stay in the house, like by himself, like a whole house. So, use my manipulation skills I already had. We would always be like, hey, let's have a party, blah, blah, blah. You know I love you, Mr. Orange, bestie. I'm just telling the story how it is, you know? I gotta tell it how it is. Alright? You know I love you guys. Okay? So I felt like I would like always manipulate, because I knew he kind of was interested in me. So I would be like, oh, let's have a party. Well, we had our first party, and it was the first time I drank, and it was New Year's, and I drank a couple wine coolers, and I could not believe that I was like able to talk to guys, and I was like, oh my god, these guys here are interested in me, not thinking like, okay, we're just a bunch of drunk kids running around and there's no other girls. Like, no, in my head it's like, oh my god, they like me, like I'm cool. And when I got that first sip of alcohol, it was just like, I could not believe how empowered I felt. It was like what they say, like the final puzzle piece, the missing piece, it just went into place. Like, this is what I was missing my whole life. I needed some kind of substance to loosen up and talk to people. And after that New Year's party, it never stopped. It was like right away, I was the one who was obsessed. Like, we gotta have a party every weekend. Okay, so then we gotta start smoking weed. Gotta smoke cigarettes. I don't even know what a cigarette will do to me, but I gotta have it because it's cool. I remember someone being like, you're not even inhaling. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, what? It's so not cool. It's like 10 years, 20 years later. Not 20, but... And I wish I never would have done that, because I can't stand it. And right now I'm battling quitting, you know? Like... It's so frustrating. And we started smoking weed, and I love, oh god, like, drinking and weed, that was it. We would smoke at my friend's house, that house, me and the girl, he didn't really like it. Me and her would smoke all the time, and we would just be so out of hand wild, and we had so much fun, and we'd eat so much food, and drink on the weekends, and, you know, I thought it was so much fun. And I ended up I had never really done anything with a guy, and I think I just turned 16. I was 15 going, it was like my birthday, and I'm thinking of how much I would never feel. So I ended up losing my virginity, and this guy like lied to me, and it's like, oh, we'll be doing it together, it's my first time. And I was drunk. I guess I was pretending to be more drunk than I was, and I did it, and then I found out like he was lying to me. He had just had sex with some other girl, and I know it's so stupid maybe, but it wasn't to me. It was like, oh, okay, so you just lied to me about something really important. And then like everybody, it went from Natalie being this goody good girl, and I thought if I did this, everyone would think I was cool, so it went from Natalie being this goody good girl to Natalie being this bad girl slut, and I was like, wait, this isn't what I meant to do. I wanted to stop somewhere in the middle, you know? But it didn't work like that. You know how people are. I had this incident with weed. I'm going to tell this, and then this is going to be the end. And then I'll continue next week. So I had this incident with weed. I don't really care if anyone agrees with me or not. I feel like some people can smoke marijuana, some people can't. My mind is very, like, I'm a very deep thinker. I'm constantly analyzing and pulling things apart. And when I smoke, it's like I can't control the speed. It's just insane, like, how my mind is working. And I always loved it. And then one day I smoked and it was too strong. And my friend and I, when I say I had a freak out, it was like nothing you had ever seen. Like, I was literally tripping. Literally. And I was like, I'm dead. I'm in purgatory. Because like I said, my family was religious. So I'm thinking all this religious stuff. Like, God hates me. He's going to give me a second chance. No, he's not. I'm stuck here. Like, crazy. Ever since then, never liked weed. Like, I've smoked since, but every time it's like I'm thinking the whole time about it, or I end up going into the bad trip. Like, I don't like it ever since that day. And that was in high school. So after high school, I never really smoked. And sometimes, like, people probably don't believe me, but I truly think, like, I got so obsessed with specific things. Like, I had barely even smoked weed that long, and I was obsessed with it. And I feel like if I would have been able to keep smoking, I would have never even ventured into other drugs. Because once I find something, I stick to it. Like, I don't like change. But it was so strong, like, the emotion and everything tied with it, that I couldn't keep doing it. So I just started drinking constantly. And then I met this guy. And that's where we're gonna leave off. And oh, you know who you are. Remember, like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow probably, and I will continue the story next week. Thank you for your support, and I love you. Bye.